I think all of us have heard the phrase, let go and let God. It was one of the favorites of my late sister-in-law, Judy. She always used to tell it to me over and over. And I think this saying relates to the need that all of us to have trust in God in all things, totally. And how in that trust we are then called to love Him first and foremost in our lives. Our gospel today, I think, alludes to that. We hear this quote from our Lord that seems stark and nearly overwhelming. If anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. What does Jesus mean by these words? Surely he doesn't want us to hate those whom he has placed in our lives, particularly the members of our families whom we are meant to call and love in his name. But I think he's saying that our love for God must be the first love that all of us have. That all of our relationships in the world must be seen as originating from his love, always meant to be rooted in his love that he is sharing with us. And so I think it boils down to almost a very basic set of questions, if you will, in our life. What is our highest priority? What is the most important thing for me to do each day? Who or what do I love more than anything else? Because if the answers to these questions is anything but God, we are told we cannot be his disciple. We need the grace to then allow him to change us so we might be then able to orient our loves in a proper way. We've now begun our school year in earnest. We finished our second week last Friday or yesterday. What a great honor it was for me to celebrate Mass with our children last Friday. Father Richards celebrated the Mass yesterday. How exciting it is for me to see he's teaching our 8th grade and he's getting to know all the students. Our school revolves around our celebration of the Eucharist every Friday. It is part of their identity. And it's part of our identity as a parish family as we come here, as we are meant to here to let go and let God, to express our trust in him totally, to bring all of our hopes, our worries, our talents, our gifts, and to give everything back to him, to be joined in that perfect sacrifice of Christ to his Father, to publicly state here that yes, Jesus is the most important person in my life. Is that what we really do here every time we come? Or are we here more as a sense of obligation or habit? Jesus in our gospel says we need to renounce all of our possessions. When we leave here and we live out the week, do we seek to do that? Or do we actually spend most of our time seeking to acquire and retain possessions? Do we seek to embrace the crosses that are ours? And oh, there are so many. Or do we strive to flee from them? Do we desire to be his disciple? Because if we do, the way to that is made clear by our Lord in the gospel today. And it will involve decisions that we will make each and every day to take up our cross and follow him. Our first reading from the book of Wisdom, we are told that human deliberations are timid and unsure. Because of original sin, our ability to see things and then to decide with courage has been impaired. It would be very hard for us to choose to deny ourselves, to accept our crosses. But the wisdom of God assures us that it is only in this way that we can hope to share in the glory of the resurrection. This truth always animated St. Paul. In our second reading, he writes to Philemon, urging him to accept the returning slave Onesimus, not with harsh punishment, but with forgiveness and love, not as a slave, but as a brother. And so as with Philemon, our desire to follow Christ must be expressed in the day-to-day choices that we make, in all the normal daily activities presented to us, which will require us to turn away from so many attractions. Let us seek to follow that seemingly stark command that our Lord places on us today. Let us, instead of clinging to all the things we think we need or want, heed that simple advice that my dear sister-in-law used to so often remind me of, to let go and to let God, seeking always to deny ourselves, to renounce our possessions, to take up our cross. Then, in the words of the psalmist, we will know God always as our refuge, shouting with joy and gladness each day until that never-ending day in the eternal glory of heaven.